Alright guys, I've been whipped by another lock. It shouldn't be any surprise because it's from FarmerFreak. He's probably one of the most creative lock designers I think I have ever met or seen work from. By the way, this was a lock I sent to him quite some time ago, many months ago, and he just returned it a couple of weeks ago. I've been working on it every single night. Nothing. I mean, I did get it picked, but I'd never got a single open. In other words, the core rotated, but I could not for the life of me. And I figured that it was probably a split core, because that's been in some of the forums lately, and I thought, okay, I'll just go ahead and pull it apart. I have just gotten it apart. I want to show you how this thing works. This is just, to me, just amazingly creative. This is the actuator, and so you notice this is kind of odd. We got a little copper spring there, and so that presses up there. And I wondered what in the world that did. And all it does is that spring keeps this actuator pushed away from it. And it just did not make any sense. So I grabbed the original key, and this is it right here. This is the key that I sent to him, and I stuck it in there. And lo and behold, the core turned. When I picked it, I didn't sense any weird pins in there. I just could not get the lock to open. So I thought, okay, that's it. It's broken. There's something defective. And at that point, I got frustrated. This is after 2 weeks, more than probably, oh man. I'm going to say I spent at least 30 hours trying to pick this. And this is the original key. Now, when you hold the two of them up together, you'll notice, put the original one in the front, these are absolutely identical, except the key, the new key, is slightly longer. And even when I saw that, it didn't click. But when I put this key in, goodness gracious, it did open. Now what I want to show you, let me take the original key again first. Watch this actuator. Notice it's spring loaded. I'm going to keep my finger as I'm pushing the actuator in. When I slide the original key in there, the actuator doesn't do anything. It just stays right where it is. It does turn. It should open the lock, but the spring is keeping it pushed away from the actuator on the back, which would open it. Now let me get the lock, or the key that FarmerFreak created. Again, I'm going to slide it in. I'm going to put tension on it. Now watch this. When I slide it all the way in, notice how it pushes that last notch is just enough to push it up a little bit. And that apparently is exactly what is needed to overcome the spring pressure, to engage the two actuators and open the lock, because obviously the big key open this thing, otherwise you'd never be looking at the guts. Just incredible. So let's take a look. What has he done? How did he make that work? Well, a lot of machining and a lot of filing, I can tell you. He created this piece on the back of the lock. He cut these two grooves inside of the core so that they'd fit right in there, and it would slide back and forth very smoothly. Just amazing. I have not yet gutted it. I'm going to go ahead and gut it, and I'm going to lay everything out on the pinning. Like I said, I don't think there's anything weird up there. When I did manage to pick the pins to turn the core but not get it open, I just didn't feel anything. But let's take a look anyway, and I'm going to take a closer look at how this thing fits together. Alright guys, just like I thought, not only are these all standard pins, no trickery in there whatsoever, but FarmerFreak didn't even think it necessary to put in a sixth pin. The sixth cylinder on the core was empty, and here's what we're looking at. This entire piece is handmade, hand-fitted. The original actuator, he removed it from the rear, handmade this one, cut these two grooves to fit in there very precisely. Not machined, but hand-fitted. Very smooth, very nice work, I gotta say. Just, I can't imagine the imagination that went into this to come up with an idea that would allow this to work. Anyway, when you slide the full-length key in there, you see how little there is to work with, but when it pushes through there, that's just enough to overcome the spring tension and to interlock those two actuators to cause the lock to open. No way I would have ever figured this out. You'd have to have, in order to beat this thing, you'd have to pick all the pins and then find a tension wrench that would fit all the way through the length of the core and push that actuator before you turned it. If you waited till after you would turn it, probably wouldn't line up. What a piece of work. No threading, no nothing. It's completely stock. And whipped me for 2 weeks. I'm ashamed, but this is not the first lock FarmerFreak has whipped me with, and probably won't be the last. This guy is incredibly creative. Anyway, fellas, thanks for your time. Stay safe, stay legal. FarmerFreak, thank you, sir, for the idea. This is incredibly creative. I hope some of the lock manufacturers pick up on this and pay you what they owe you. Thanks, guys.